Welcome, guys, to Glasgow Rangers Nation. So, no Scottish referees going to the Euros. A Sima deal on the way, and a link to a Armenian international who plays for Krasnodar. I think that's how you say it. Fuck knows when. Called Spertsyan. Guys, I'm really massacring names this morning. So, 3 stories, 3 things to come up with, guys. So, please, obviously, watch the whole video and let me know what you think in the comments. So, first of all, let's just deal very short, quick story. It was announced today that there have been no Scottish referees selected for the pool for Euro 2024. But yeah, an Argentinian referee has been selected. You know what? It's the only thing I find shocking and alarming is the fact that people were genuinely shocked and alarmed that there wasn't any Scottish referees going to Euro 2024. You know what? You've got to kind of think, have they not been watching the SPL this season, where some of the refereeing displays have more reminded me of the Chuckle Brothers or the Benny Hill show or something like that. In fact, you can often think that a number of refereeing displays this season in the SPL, you could play the Benny Hill music over the top of them. That's how bad they have genuinely been. Yes, I know Nick Walsh, Willie Collum, Don Robertson, etc. are on the FIFA lists or the UEFA lists. But you know what? You look at the standards this season, you look at how they've refereed this season, and you can genuinely say that Scottish refereeing is some of the worst in Europe. And I think, hopefully, the one thing we can take from this, other than just sitting here taking the piss out of them, is that the SFA will realise that the standard of Scottish refereeing has dropped to such a low, awful standard that something now needs to be done, that even UEFA, the European football governing body, is in a way stating that the standard of Scottish refs is so genuinely bad that they would not touch them with a barge pole for an international tournament, meaning that the SFA do need to do something about it and improve the standard of refereeing in Scotland, as well as obviously the use of VAR, because it's not VAR that's the problem, it's the Muppets sat behind the computers that are the issue. And you might think you're a Muppet sat behind the computer and you get away with it on a daily basis. True, I suppose that's true. Anyway, we're going to talk about a player called Spertsyan. I think that's how you say his name. I've slaughtered it. That's coming up. A midfielder that has been linked with a move to Rangers, an attacking midfielder, an exciting option that is on Neil's Koppen's watch list, apparently. But let's first of all deal with Abdallah Sima. Now, on the podcast last night, we discussed Abdallah Sima, and there was a majority of the guys watching the channel who wanted to keep Abdallah Sima, who felt that it was in Rangers' best interests to keep Abdallah Sima. Now, I know this very much depends on how much Brighton want for Sima. That is the big stumbling block over this. Now, they signed him for £6 million from Slavia. That was what they paid for him. Now, there has been rumours, of course, that they are looking to shop him for a lot more money than that, which you can kind of understand that they may want to turn a profit. Part of Brighton's model, which is the trading model, has been of bringing in players and then flipping them for an enormous amount of money, like they did with Alexis McAllister, like they did for Moises Caicedo. Of course, you know, look, it is a situation where you're not going to get that for Sima. Why are you not going to get that for Sima? Well, number one, Brighton have hardly played him. Number two, he has done well at Rangers this year, but has missed an awful lot of games through injury. And number three, he is out of contract next season. He has only 12 months remaining on his deal, meaning that clubs are unlikely to splurge a large amount of cash on a player that has only a year left on his deal. Why pay 15, 20 million pounds for a player when you can get him for absolutely nothing the next summer? Clubs in this day and age of Titan PSR or FSR or whatever you want to call it are not going to start splurging massive amounts of money. We've seen in the Premier League clubs being punished this season down south of the border for overspends, and obviously Leicester City, who look likely to be promoted from the Championship, likely to be docked a substantial number of points if they are promoted to the Premier League. So, look, Sima, the rumour is that Rangers are very much interested in doing a deal with Brighton if the price is right. Now, this is what sources close to the club are saying. The club are ready to sit down with Brighton and negotiate a deal to sign Abdallah on a permanent basis. Abdallah loves being at Rangers. Abdallah has been a success at Rangers. I know he's missed games through injury, but he's done well this season. 16 goals this season. His stats are very good. He scored in Europe. He scored in the SPL. He scored in the Cup. He scored across all competition formats. He can play right wing, he can play left wing, he can play through the middle. He is an exceptionally talented player. And I think, when he went off on Sunday against Hearts, it changed the dynamic of our team. He is a direct player. He tracks back. He works hard forwards and backwards. He is the all-round player, good in the air. And he's another player who is 21 years old, who fits the player trading model. Now, say you pay 7 million for him, or 6 million, or 6.5 million, even if you then were to insert a sell-on clause, you are still likely in 2 to 3 years' time to make a substantial profit on a player who is only going to get better. Sometimes you have to speculate to accumulate, because that is the way this trading model works. So say spend 6.5, 7 million on Sima now, 10% sell-on clause, we flog him for 15, 18 million in 2-3 years' time, we make a massive profit on him, which can then be reinvested into the team. For me, it's a no-brainer. For me, it's a definite. It all, of course, depends, according to what this source at the club is saying, on Brighton being willing to put the transfer fee at a realistic level for Rangers and a realistic level for the player's value. And like I've said, for a guy who's been out injured this season and also has a deal that expires in 12 months by the end of this season, if Brighton are looking to recoup 10, 15, 20 million for him, they're unlikely to get that, because, like I said, clubs are working a lot tighter these days because of PSR, and also the fact that why would you pay that much money for a player you can get for nothing in 12 months' time? It just is not realistic. So a deal will be done, apparently, if the price can be agreed somewhere around that £6-7 million mark. That's what the source close to the club is saying. Now, according to the reports in this morning's media and in yesterday's media, there is a link to a player that is very much a Niels Koppen-esque player. And this is this guy called Spertsyan. Now, my hope this summer is that the Ibrox board give Clement and Koppen free rein with a decent budget to go and get the players they want to turn this team into a quality, forward-thinking, attacking team that can really not only challenge that lot from across the city, but can also put up a good fight in Europe. Now, finish second this season, we do still get into the Champions League. We have to go through 2 qualifying rounds. And I think, the hope is that Koppen and Clement can put together a team capable of getting to the group stages and generating that substantial amount of income that the new Champions League format will bring in, which is around about 20 to 30 million pounds, which is all very useful money, because we can't allow them across the city to get any further ahead on the financial side. Look, for me, it's got to be Koppen and Clement driving the recruitment, identifying the players and signing the players. Not Bisgrove, not Bennett, not any of the board, not Craig Robertson. A former English footballer back from the 1930s. Fantastic footballer called Len Shackleton, played for Newcastle United and Sunderland. And in his autobiography, he once entitled a chapter, "A Football Director's Knowledge of Football," and he left the page blank. Therefore, obviously insinuating that football directors know absolutely jack shit about football, which is very true. So I certainly hope that our directors leave the job to the men in the know, the men that know what they're doing, the men that understand footballers, the men that understand football, which is Niels Koppen and Philippe Clement. So who is this player, Eduard Spertsyan? I think that's how you say his name. It's a very difficult name to say. Guys, I always massacre the names, especially those that are Eastern European or Scandinavian or sometimes descent. So the name is this. That is his name there, Eduard Spertsyan. He currently plays for Krasnodar in Russia. Now, obviously, there was difficulties around this in terms of money into Russia, given the situation with the sanctions against Russia. We know all that could be an issue. Now, according to reports in the press, Rangers are tracking this attacking midfield player, Eduard Spertsyan. Apparently, Celtic are also interested in the services of Spertsyan. Add to that as well that Feyenoord, PSV, and Ajax are all tracking this player as well. So he's clearly someone who has some talent. All those clubs mentioned, in particular those 3 Dutch giants, PSV, Ajax, and Feyenoord, are all teams that do have an excellent track record of finding and signing players from not what you would call the fashionable parts of Europe. Now, I don't know. Now, according to Spertsyan, the Krasnodar, I don't know how the hell you say it, president did say that he was worth £13 million. I think this was a bit of overinflation. I don't think this is a realistic price level. He is an attacking midfielder, however. He is somebody who, likes to get forward, likes to create, plays in that number 10 role. Now, given the fact, obviously, we have Todd Cantwell, Tom Lawrence, Mo Diamande, who can all play in that role, bringing an extra attacking midfielder may indicate that one of them, maybe Tom Lawrence, who's out of contract in 2025 and has a dodgy injury history, could well be moved on. Kieran Dowell can also play there as well. Clement does like to rotate his team. So as good as Todd Cantwell is, it could be that Clement wants Spertsyan and Cantwell to share that number 10 role. He's another young player. He's 23 years old. He's Armenian. He's just under 6 foot. He's quick. He's direct. He's speedy. He's a good player by all accounts. He's football in terms of his footballing career. He has played all his football career at Krasnodar. I think that's how you say it in Russia. He can play as an attacking midfielder or a centre midfielder. The majority of his appearances, though, have come as an attacking midfielder for his club side. Now, his record this season in the Russian Premier League is as follows. So he's played 92% of the starting 11s for Krasnodar. I think that's how you say it, 92% of the minutes, and had a 39% goal participation rate. So over a third of his team's goals have come from him. He's made 23 appearances this season, got 6 yellow cards, so he's not afraid to get stuck in. He scored 9 goals and 6 assists, so 15 goal contributions in 23 games, which to me looks very, very good indeed. He's also got 25 international caps for his country, Armenia, where he has scored 4 goals for them. You've got to obviously balance that with the fact that Armenia are not a particularly impressive international team, hence the low numbers. But this certainly seems like a Niels Koppen type player, going back across his history at PSV, going back across what we've signed so far in Cortez and Diamande and the clubs that he shot at, like Norgesland and Lons. And, you look at the likes of Sibari and Bakayoko and Noah Lang that he brought in at PSV. This player, Spertsyan, does seem very much in keeping with that Niels Koppen type tradition. So let me know what you think. Is this a goer? Is this someone you would like to see Rangers follow up their reported interest in? Or do you think this is another dud story? Let me know what you think, guys, of the stories we've covered in the video today. The referees, Abdallah Sima and Spertsyan. And also, what did you think of what Len Shackleton did in his book? Thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation, guys. As always, please smash the sub. Help the channel to keep on growing. We are working towards that target of 6,000 subs by the end of the season, so please help us continue to get there. Thank you so much for watching the channel, guys. On the way out, 2 things I always ask of you. Number 1, smash the like, and number 2, remember always, we are the people.